It's no secret that rookie draft pick values are on the rise. But what are these picks worth right now? Is it time to consider selling? Or is there still time to buy? Keep it plugged in here to see how Mike and Nate think these values shake out and what they're planning to do with their 2024 rookie picks. I do hope that y'all enjoy the video. Please leave a like if you do. Comment down below what you're looking to do with your rookie picks, and if you're looking to buy, sell, or hold those rookie picks until the day of the draft. But before we get into it, I'd like to take a moment to shout out today's partner, Mint Mobile. You and I both know that you're probably paying more for wireless than you should be. I know I was. For as little as $15 a month, Mint Mobile offers you everything you need. Whether it's speed, coverage, data, access to 5G, or unlimited talk and text, Mint Mobile keeps prices low by operating off the nation's largest 5G network and operating exclusively online. And that means no more pushy sales reps or waiting in long lines. On top of that, switching is easy and customer support is easily accessible through the Mint Mobile app, all from the comfort of your own home. Since making the switch myself, I'm still enjoying all of my favorite YouTube videos, streaming services, and catching up on my favorite podcasts without any drop in performance quality. Start saving today at trymintmobile.com/Dynasty Rewind. The link will be on your screen in the YouTube description box as well as the pinned comment below. And for a limited time, try any 3-month plan for 50% off. This means you can try Mint Mobile Unlimited for 3 months for just $15 a month if you sign up today. Thank you so much for listening and choosing to support this brand. But with all that said, let's get right to the content you came for.
Let's get started. Start with everyone's favorite pick, the rookie 101 in Superflex, typically a quarterback. And the given cost of said pick is Anthony Richardson and a 25 third. Nate, higher, lower, fair value? What are you thinking?
Higher, man. Higher than this. And
Yep.
I think value-wise, there might be some people who are more than happy to give the 101 away and get Anthony Richardson. Those people who love Anthony Richardson, they might choose Anthony Richardson over Caleb Williams because honestly, they're pretty close, like on somewhere like keep trade cut. But for me, I am not convinced on Anthony Richardson yet. This is a guy that we have talked about all last offseason, not having enough games, comes in, plays 2.5 games his rookie year, and then misses the rest of the season. I love the talent of the guy, but we all saw the Trey Lance situation, right? I mean, Anthony Richardson's done a lot more than Trey Lance has done already, but come on, like let's be careful moving forward. And you got Caleb Williams coming in. I want more than just a 3rd round pick, Mike. I think it needs to be an early second. I don't want to spoil, but you have a late first in there. I think that's where the value needs to be if I'm going to make that move, because I'm going to prefer Caleb Williams, and you got to convince me to move off of that pick. You got to convince me to not take the player that I think is a safe pick and risk it on a guy like Anthony Richardson, who we have a lot more question. I have a lot more question marks about than Caleb Williams, even though AR is in a good situation, but he needs game time. He needs experience. He needs to show it more than just 2.5 games. So if I'm selling the 101, I'd rather have a guy like Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, one of those level quarterbacks, and you give me a 1st round pick within that top 7 so I can get another stud as well as keep a good quarterback on my team. So that's the move I'd be making.
I agree. It's higher as well. I do think you might need another 1st in there. And if I'm going to move this pick, a guy who can be a generational talent as he's being heralded, I want more consistency. Can I do this and somehow get Patrick Mahomes? Can I get Josh Allen? Those are the caliber of players I'm going after with the 101, not Anthony Richardson. That could look different in 5 years from now. We don't know what his career is going to hold, but you made a really good parallel there with the Trey Lance situation. That's a really, really good comp because there's so many question marks right now. Caleb Williams, man, better body of work in college. He's not as big of a project as Anthony Richardson. Here's the thing. If you put both prospects out in this class, almost 99 times out of 100 people are taking Caleb Williams. So don't change that now. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to go middle of the pack where they say it's dangerous to be. The rookie 105. This given cost, Jalen Waddle. Nate, higher, lower, fair?
We're going higher here. We're going higher here because, I have Waddle kind of similar to Neighbors and Odunze. I think we have kind of similar tiered players there. Obviously, Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors have the allure of the upside, the potential upside that they can be even better than Jalen Waddle. But if they were just Jalen Waddle, you'd probably be pretty happy with your pick, to be quite honest. So for me to move off of Waddle and move over to one of those guys, and once again, I'm saying, hey, you have to convince me to make the change from what it's weird saying, hey, I think I'm making this is the safe thing to keep Waddle. Even though there's Neighbors could be incredible, Roman Doomsday could be incredible. They could be. They could also just be Waddle, and you'd be happy, like I said. So if I'm moving Waddle, I need like Waddle in the early second, like the 203, and then I'll move Waddle for one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm higher as well. And you know what the funny thing is? Jalen Waddle was over 1,000 yards last year. He was wide receiver 34. Shows how volatile the wide receiver position could be. And this could be Brock Bowers territory right here. So we're going to miss out on a guy that could be a generational tight end talent for the wide receiver 34. And I like Jalen Waddle. This is nothing against Jalen Waddle. But right now, coming off the board, Brock Bowers is going to be viewed as a top 5 dynasty tight end without ever playing a snap. Same thing happened with Kyle Pitts a few years ago, if you recall. If I'm moving to 105, I want guys who are ranked higher in their respective tiers. I want like a guy like Trey McBride. If I could get a Breece Hall, I don't know if I could, but I would certainly try. Or if I'm moving and trying to get more picks, I would move back for like the 109 and 204. If I could do that combination, I would consider that as well. But we got to go a little bit higher on that value there for us personally.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. We're sliding right down the board here, Nate. Let's go to the 108. We're going to Brian Thomas range here. So the given cost of the 108 in Superflex, Rashee Rice in a 25 third. Nate, higher, lower, fair value.
This is fair value, Mike. I'm a big Rashee Rice fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I like Brian Thomas. I think JJ McCarthy is possibly my pick here at the 108 rather than Brian Thomas Jr. if I need a quarterback.
I like that.
But Rashee Rice, he's a wide receiver one from Mahomes. And everyone's wanted that for so long. They finally got it. And they're ready to, draft Xavier Worthy at the 108 rather than Brian Thomas because he goes to the Chiefs at 32 to play the MVS role. Come on. Rashee Rice, he's the guy that we wanted. We got him. Accept him, appreciate him, take the time to appreciate what you have before it goes away, and use the 108 to go get Rashee Rice, who is the wide receiver one for the best quarterback in the league, and go win your league. Don't go after Brian Thomas Jr., who has a lot of ability, but a rather decent chance to bust, I think. I'm not saying he's going to, but he's not a safe prospect as Neighbors or Odunze or Harrison. There's a reason he's in the next tier. I already know Rashee Rice is good, and he is like next level good after the catch, like almost Debo-esque statistically. So give me Rashee Rice and a 3rd round pick on top. Yes, please.
From week 11 to week 16, check this out. Target share, 10 targets, 9 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets, 12 targets, 6 targets. So he's getting the work. He was inactive week 17. He's getting the work. And if he was in this draft, this is probably the range that he'd be going in, which is why I think it's fair value as well. All right, let's hop back into it. Nate and we're continuing to slide down this draft board. The rookie 112 in Superflex, the given value for this is Javonte Williams. Who's going to be handing the ball off to Javonte Williams? Probably Michael Pratt.
Maybe Bo Nix.
I would like that landing spot for Bo Nix.
Going with the Sean Payton offense, yeah. Oh, man, I think this is a higher, with Javonte Williams. I like him, but he's going into a contract year, Mike, and he hasn't really ever put together a full impressive fantasy season. So Broncos offense doesn't look great either. I'm not giving a 1st round pick. If it starts with a 1, I'm not giving it up for Javonte. It's got to be a 2nd round pick if I'm trying to get Javonte. I know I need running backs, and it's hard to come by running backs who are starting and getting good volume, and that's where Javonte's upside is. But hey, he's only got 1 year left there, and I can't expect it to be that great of a year because of how the offense looks at the moment. It can look better, and I talked about a month or 2 ago about Javonte Williams being used as a receiver. And as long as that continues, he's going to have some good fantasy upside. But give me the 112, Mike, here, because I can get a new running back and possibly the RB1 of the class at this point, which I'll take over Javonte Williams. I think Javonte Williams, more like the 203, 204 is where I feel like the value would actually be, like a good value. If I'm selling the 112, instead of Javonte Williams, give me DeAndre Swift on the Bears. I'm interested in that. I think I might be able to maybe get something on top because he's a little bit older, but he's a starting running back. So
R.I.P. Roshan.
Yeah, R.I.P. Roshan for sure. And then if I can't get DeAndre, maybe I need a quarterback. What about Kirk Cousins or Baker Mayfield? What kind of conversation can I start with the 112 there?
I like that a lot. And Kirk Cousins now an Atlanta Falcon. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have my higher as well, value wise. And I think Javonte Williams' value, like you said, like the 202 to 204 range ish. But why would I trade that for Javonte Williams when I could just wait a couple picks and draft Trey Benson or Jalen Wright as what their Dynasty Rewind ADP is right now? So to get this to be fair, I think you'd have to add to Javonte like a third or a second to make it worth the 112. But if I'm selling this pick and I needed a player, I would look for like a James Cook, an Isaiah Pacheco, who a lot of people are down on, but he's been really productive for Kansas City. Or I'd even consider like a Kyron Williams. I don't think the Rams are going to add there. I don't know if you can get Kyron Williams for the 112. You might have to add a
no,
little bit to it. Or you know what? Stephon Diggs is still putting up some really stellar
you
numbers.
do
And the
that.
Bills are going to have to score points because they cut their entire defense for the most part. So they're going to have to do something out there.
And Gabe Davis is gone, so
All right, Nate, let's move on. We got a couple more here. So a mid-second in Superflex, the cost of this is Jamison Williams. We want to talk about a guy whose value is just all over the place.
yeah.
That's JMO for you. Nate, is this higher, lower, or fair value?
I think this is fair value with the risks/reward that Jamison Williams brings to the table in an offense that I think is a pretty good offense. So I think there's opportunity for him to have some really big weeks. I worry about the consistency of those performances, though. And because of that, I'm not super interested in Jamison Williams. I do think he has the value of a mid-second, though. But if I'm selling the mid-second, I'm probably going after a player like Deontay Johnson is who I had written on here. I don't know if you can get him for the 205 now or something like that. You probably have to pay up a little bit more. Probably more like an early second. I don't know if you have to spend a first on Deontay. Hopefully people are still down on Deontay enough you don't spend a first.
The mid-second seems better for him right now.
Yeah. Or Tyjae Spears, who actually had the other opposite thing happening in free agency. His value went down from free agency. I'm still
Yeah.
interested because I'm not a Pollard fan at all. I think he's toast. So I think this is kind of like a Miles Sanders vibe where, hey, Pollard gets the money, but mid-season, Spears is the guy. And even if he's not, Spears is still going to have quite the role there as the receiving back. And I'm excited for Spears. So if you can get him for a mid-second, I think that's pretty good value now.
You're talking about Deontay's value. If he would have went almost anywhere else, his value probably would have went up. But then he goes to Carolina, and people have kind of soured on Bryce Young and just the organization as a whole. Just a lot of
It
questions.
feels mid, like a mid move for a lot of people, and I get it. But hey, I don't think it's mid for fantasy.
But I think this is fair value for Jameson Williams. It's right what the value should be, in my opinion, right now. But some other guys that I would, if I was moving this, that I would prefer over him, Brian Robinson Jr. Also not worried about the Austin Eckler signing. I think he's toast as well. For the
Yeah.
record, I think he's going to be a good depth piece. Probably a guy to vulture 5 to at the most 10 touches a game in some capacity. I would also consider Mike Evans. People are still down on him. He just signed a new deal. He's going to rip off 1,000 yards. Could always have 7 to 11 touchdowns somewhere around there. Or hey, you need a tight end? Why not grab Jake Ferguson? All right, so Nate, this is our last one. A mid-third in Superflex. The given cost to this right now is Josh Palmer. Higher, lower, fair value. What do you think?
Yeah, I had this one down for fair value. And with Josh Palmer, I mean, I think I could see like an early third actually for Josh Palmer's value or I could also see like a late third. I don't really know how to value Josh Palmer exactly, but if I have a mid third, Josh Palmer intrigues me because, hey, I think Mike Williams is probably going to get cut any minute here. And it's not like Quentin Johnson was that impressive last year. So you got an aging Keenan Allen, and you got Josh Palmer, who could very well be the wide receiver too. I do expect them to bring some more competition in after they cut Mike Williams. But Josh Palmer has been very productive when he's been called upon before, and he might be called upon again this year. And that could be really good for him because he's in a contract year, Mike. And he's going to be hitting free agency next year at this time, and he will be 25 years old. And Josh Palmer, like I said, has been productive every single time he's been called upon. He might not have ever, been like that elite wide receiver, but he's going to have a market for him when he goes to free agency. And I think he's a productive player when called upon. It's just how much volume is he going to get? I'm not quite sure yet, but I think the mid-third definitely intrigues me with Josh Palmer. But if I'm selling the mid-third, I'm probably looking for Demario Douglas, who I just mentioned, Rashad Bateman, Cade Otton. Those are the three players I like. I think Josh Palmer is also probably in that realm as well, as a player I'd be looking at with the mid-third.
I have it that the value is lower than that of Josh Palmer. I think Josh Palmer could go for like a late second, early third right now. I think people are a little higher on him than you're giving him credit for, Nate. I do think that this is kind of his year, though, to be honest with you. This is where he's going to shine.
Yeah.
He breaks 1,000 yards. No, I'm not going to bet on it.
That'd be fun, though. Ooh, that would be fun. You better draft a lot of Josh Palmer in best ball. Would you buy a mid-third with Josh Palmer, or are you more interested in selling a mid-third for Josh Palmer?
If I could get Josh Palmer for mid-third, I would do it because I think his value's higher. Sorry, that's how I should have phrased it. I like the deal. I would take it, but he's definitely worth more in my opinion, at least a little bit.
While that is it for the video today, I do hope that y'all enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did. Comment down below what you thought of the video itself. And if you want to dive into today's video topic that much more, head on over to patreon.com/Dynasty Rewind. Get in on that 7-day free Discord trial. Check out some bonus podcasts while you're there. But with all that said, we'll see you in the next one. But until then, I hope that y'all have a good one.